Mitch says, Akil, have you ever taken strategies from books and tested them? There were some nice daily strategies in Courtney Smith's Forex trading for a living, but didn't have the expertise to trade them live and follow the rules. I have yes and no. Yes and no. And again, the question is, Akil, have you ever taken strategies from books and tested them? And we'll start with this, right? I didn't read any books, aside from even then, believe it or not, guys, I never read a book on technical analysis until after I had already been trained on how to trade. Now I say that like talking to in terms of like specific strategies, right? My first training was a 4-set DVD set. And they were teaching stuff about the market, like fibs and movement. I don't remember what it was, but I don't think there was any type of specific strategy. I did read Trade What You See by Larry Pesavento, but that was after I was already trained. And I guess there were a few books, like I read a few books on technicals that just like talked about support and resistance, but there were no real strategies in there. So I never really read any books on that gave technical strategies until after I was trained. I'm looking at my library right now just to make sure I fact check that. But I didn't really. Again, I wasn't a really big book reader until I kind of really got into the market. What's that? Here it goes. I think the only book that I might have read was called Forex Trading Secrets. You guys ever read that? I'm not sure if there were strategies in there. I remember I had that book before I got trained, I think. Forex Trading Secrets, Trading Strategies, okay, for the Forex market, James Dix. I don't think there were the basics. It walks you through, it had a chapter just explaining all the currency pairs. Then it talks about money management in part 2. Then trading psychology, fundamental analysis, technical analysis. I don't think I see any strategies in here, though. It just said technical indicators, technical analysis, types of charts, technical patterns, candlesticks, chartism, reversal patterns. So it wasn't a strategy, more of, I guess, EMAs, automated trading, more just an overview of the different elements of the Forex market. I did read a turtle book, The Way of the Turtle. That was a good book. Again, it doesn't talk strategies. They're very secretive about that. But and that was after the fact. But yeah, I didn't really read any books on trading strategy. So the answer to that is no. Now, I have tried many strategies that I've seen on like the internet. I was vigorously searching the internet, vulturing around the internet, you would say, for trading strategies. And I tried every single type of like indicator-based strategy, like moving average crosses and MACDs and stochastics and stuff like that. This was at the point before I knew what backtesting was. So I tried them and they didn't work long term. But who's to say if that was more because of me just being impatient and not really knowing how to play stops or targets or anything like that, or if it was actually the strategy. Now, I would tell you what I have done. After I've become really comfortable in my skin, right? So after I've been a consistently profitable trader for years, I became very comfortable in how I trade and my personality. That's what I mean by comfortable in my skin, where when I first started there came a point in time when I traded and I purposely had to avoid everything else on the internet, right? Because I was trying to trade my strategy, but what do you often see on the internet, right? You see people bragging about making this much money doing that, this much money doing that. And I had shiny thing syndrome. I still do have shiny thing syndrome. But I'd be like, ooh, what's he trading? Ooh, what is she trading? Oh, how'd he do that? Ooh, let's try that, right? And I would lose confidence in my system, especially if I had a losing day. And then, Big Pippin over there has a massive winning day trading a different strategy. I would start to doubt my trading strategy and hop to his. So at the beginning phases, I purposely just went black. I went dark. I got away from everything social media because I had to gain complete confidence in my trading, because I didn't have the ability to look at what someone else is doing and be like, oh, that's cool, but I'm cool with what I'm doing. So I avoided books and all that stuff, just fully immersed in myself, my mentor, my coaching, my community. After I kind of graduated from that, after I was reborn, right, from that egg and busted out the shell, then I became infatuated with continued education, where I understood that I wasn't really trading a strategy or a system, right? I was learning the classical movements of the market. I wasn't strategy trade. I know we call it strategies, and I guess there's no better word from it. But my goal was just to learn how to interpret the market better. Does that make sense? Like I just wanted to be a better technical chartist, right? I didn't want to trade a specific strategy. I wanted to read and analyze the market. I wanted to know what a candlestick is telling me. I wanted to know what the when this level is hit, what should happen, stuff like that. And I went back and I dug into some books that talked a lot about classic chart principles. I'll read a few from if I can find them. There is, and I got so many books, so I'm gonna miss some. Pardon me, but a good one to start, just Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, Thomas Bulkowski. It's not a book; it is an encyclopedia. It's a reference guide to basically every single pattern you can find out there, from wedges to flags, to cup and handles, to whatever you want to call it. It's a reference guide. So I would use that when I would see things in the market. I would see, I can identify flag patterns, obviously, but I would go in there for little tips because it had a lot of numbers on there where it's like, hey, percentage to break out this way is this versus that. And I would educate myself on kind of the new things that I'm seeing in the market. Does that make sense? So I would see something new. I'd be like, what is that? And then I would go to that reference guide and be like, oh, so that's called a cup and handle. Oh, okay, well, what is this move supposed to mean? And I would decide if it's something that works with my trading or not. Another one is, and I'm moving away from the mic, so pardon me. What was another one? Technical analysis and stock market profits. That's kind of an old school book. I just, again, when I came infatuated and obsessed over classical patterns, I kind of went back to like the old classical books, like the books that were made before like trading videos, like the originals, just to make sure I was seeing these classic setups the best. Because again, there came a point in time where at one point I was all indicator and all new stuff based, and I just went exactly backwards to like the bare basics, like just salt and pepper on steak. Like no A1 sauce, no fancy seasoning, just steak, salt, pepper, the basics, right? The class, you can't go wrong with the classics if you master it the right way. I kind of went back to that. So that was a good book. Another one, Peter Grant, Diary of a Professional Commodity Trader. I don't really think he talks about strategies in there. But again, that was another book. Peter Brand's a classical chartist. So that's something I was very interested in. And then Street Smarts was a good one. Street Smarts was something that, and this will be the closest I've come, Street Smarts by, I believe it's Linda Ratchke. There were some strategies in there, and those are classic strategies from the stock market. There are some strategies in there that I attempted to backtest and just failed. They just did not work. Now, most of those strategies were meant for the stock market, so it could be a difference in time. Those are old classical strategies as well. It could be just a difference in the market. But I did try to backtest a few of those, and none of them came out on the positive side. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question. Does that help at all? But I think here's the mindset you need to have, and this is the mindset I have. I think when you're looking at strategies, and this is how we teach here at Tier 1 Trading, when you're looking at strategies, I don't think the goal should be to, and George mentioned this earlier, the goal shouldn't be to take a strategy and replicate it. What do you think the goal should be, guys? Yeah, take the strategy and make it your own. So instead of just saying, I'm going to follow it step by step by step, and there's nothing wrong with that if you're brand new. If you're not into kind of strategy development, if it works, do that. But you should be able to, you should want to take the concept, understand what they're doing. Okay, I know they're using this indicator because of that. They're looking for this pullback because of that. When they get this type of candlestick formation, blah, 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 right? Take the general concepts of what you're learning and then insert it into what you're already doing or what you want to do, right? it's very similar to my, you guys know I trade trend continuation a little bit different, right? Typically, a trend following trader waits for the pullback, and what do you think they shoot for of targets? They shoot for the extension all the way down. Now, knowing myself, knowing I have a counter trend trading personality, right? My philosophy is that structure is the most important thing in the market. It bothers me to expect structure to be broken when my money's at risk. So I've adapted my way of trading trends. I used to not trade trends at all. And then I realized, hey, I'm missing out on a good chunk of moves here, right? I'm missing out on some very hedgeable positions, right? This goes back to my story of consistently getting destroyed in September, which is traditionally a directional month, and I'm getting hammered. I needed something to hedge that. So instead of taking the extension, I take a partial profit off at a retest of previous lows. So I took something, a trend continuation strategy, a classic trend continuation strategy, and I've just made it my own. I trade it in a way that makes sense to me. And, there are pros and cons, there are sacrifices that need to be made with that. But I hope that gets the point across. So nothing wrong with testing it. But I don't, if you find something you like, I don't think you should, if you test it rule by rule and it doesn't work, I don't think you should automatically dump it. I think the next question you should ask is, how can I adapt? What concepts do I like in this strategy? How can I adapt that to what I'm already using? Make sense, guys?